Chapter 1: The Journey Begins. Leila grew up in the heart of Istanbul, a vibrant city where cultures and histories blended seamlessly yet held strong to their distinct identities. Her love for her heritage was rooted deeply in her grandfather's tales. He had once been a sailor, traveling to distant lands, crossing oceans, and visiting places that seemed like fantasies to young Leila. As a child, she would sit cross-legged on the rug, listening in awe to his descriptions of bustling Indian marketplaces, tranquil Japanese temples, and lively African villages where drums filled the air with rhythmic life. Her grandfather would smile, showing her the tiny treasures he had brought back, a woven bracelet from Kenya, a carved wooden elephant from Thailand, and even a delicate silk scarf from Morocco. Each object held a story, a memory of another world, and for Leila, they became symbols of the vastness and beauty that existed beyond Istanbul's historic cityscape. As she grew older, Leila became fascinated with the idea of discovering these places herself. However, she felt bound by family expectations and her own love for home. She was meant to live a life close to her family, to build a career in Istanbul, perhaps to marry someone from their community. It was a life filled with stability, and she was ready to embrace it until the day she received news that would change everything: a scholarship offer to study anthropology in Barcelona. The opportunity felt surreal, a call to adventure that had always seemed too distant to consider. Her family was proud yet hesitant, concerned about sending their daughter so far away. But Leila's excitement was undeniable, and after many late-night conversations, her parents agreed, trusting her determination and the values she carried. With a suitcase filled with essentials and a heart full of dreams, Leila arrived in Barcelona, a city that would shape her in ways she had never imagined. Barcelona was unlike anything Leila had experienced. The city's vibrant art, architecture, and history fascinated her, yet it was the people that captivated her most. In her anthropology class, she met students from every corner of the world, each bringing with them a piece of their own culture. There was Manuel from Mexico, with his warm, lively personality. He spoke of Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, with such reverence that Leila felt as if she could see the marigolds and candles that adorned the altars. Priya, from India, had a gentle, wise presence. She told stories of Diwali, the festival of lights, and how it symbolized the victory of good over evil, light over darkness. Samir, a spirited young man from Egypt, shared the importance of Ramadan, recounting evenings when his family gathered to break their fast together, sharing laughter, stories, and the closeness of togetherness. These conversations transformed Leila. Each story gave her a deeper appreciation for the world's diversity, yet it also made her realize how much people had in common despite cultural differences. Family, love, faith, tradition, these were threads that bound them all, a universal language that everyone understood. She spent evenings with her classmates, discussing everything from their childhood memories to their dreams for the future. Over shared meals of Mexican tamales, Indian biryani, and Egyptian koshari, they laughed, debated, and grew closer, realizing that they were not so different after all. Then one afternoon, in the bustling atmosphere of a local cafe, Leila met Daniel. He was a friend of a friend, an architect with an eye for detail and a love for history. Daniel was from Seville, and his family carried a rich Jewish heritage. Though he was more reserved than her other friends, there was a quiet strength about him that intrigued Leila. His stories were subtle yet powerful. He spoke of his family's resilience, how his grandparents had lived through hardship, and how they held tightly to their traditions as a reminder of who they were and where they came from. He was deeply connected to his roots, yet he had a curiosity for others' beliefs and customs that made him an attentive listener. What began as a casual acquaintance blossomed into something deeper. Their initial conversations were simple, often about their studies or their favorite spots in the city. But soon they found themselves staying long after the cafe had emptied, sharing personal stories and dreams that they hadn't shared with anyone else. They wandered through Barcelona's narrow streets together, discovering hidden corners of the city where history and modern life intertwined. Under the glow of street lamps and the city's ancient architecture, they felt a connection that was both thrilling and comforting. Leila was drawn to Daniel's quiet thoughtfulness, his way of truly listening to her words, of understanding the nuances in her stories. Daniel, on the other hand, was captivated by Leila's warmth, her openness to different perspectives, and her unwavering love for her culture. She taught him Turkish phrases, and he shared with her the beauty of Ladino, a language spoken by Sephardic Jews. Their conversations flowed effortlessly, moving from playful teasing to deep, introspective discussions. In each other, they found a mirror of their own longing for understanding and acceptance. One evening, as they strolled through a park, Leila spoke about her fears. She worried about her family's expectations, the pressure to find someone from their community. Daniel listened in silence, nodding, because he understood. He, too, faced expectations from his family, who wanted him to settle down with someone who shared their faith and traditions. Yet there was something in their connection that felt undeniable, as if they had been searching for each other without knowing it. As the weeks turned into months, their friendship grew into love, a love that was gentle yet fierce, comforting yet challenging. They knew the path ahead would not be easy. They would have to bridge differences that went beyond language and culture, navigate family expectations, and confront the boundaries that society often placed on love. But they also knew that the love they shared was worth fighting for. Their love story was a reflection of the world they dreamed of, or a world where people could see beyond borders, beyond beliefs, and find common ground in the things that truly mattered. In the quiet moments of their journey, Leila and Daniel began to envision a life together, a life that honored both their heritage while embracing the beauty of their shared dreams. Barcelona had brought them together, but they both knew that their journey was just beginning. As they held hands under the city's starlit sky, they felt a deep, unspoken promise, the promise of a future built not on similarity but on respect, resilience, and a love that could bridge even the widest divides. Chapter 2: Love Across Boundaries. Leila and Daniel's relationship blossomed amid the vibrant, diverse backdrop of Barcelona. They were deeply in love, and their connection felt both timeless and exhilarating, like something rooted in ancient stories yet as fresh as the crisp Mediterranean air. Their relationship was a beautiful blend of cultures, beliefs, and shared dreams, yet it carried complexities neither had fully anticipated. They knew that their love would be tested by the realities of their distinct backgrounds. Leila was Turkish and Muslim, and her family held traditional values. Daniel, a Jewish Spaniard, came from a family that cherished its Sephardic heritage. The world they inhabited together was vibrant and progressive, yet both knew that the acceptance of their love back home would require more than just their feelings for each other. In quiet moments, Leila and Daniel spoke about the importance of family and tradition in their lives. They shared their hopes for a life where they could honor their roots while embracing the possibilities of a shared future. Both were aware that their respective families had certain expectations about marriage, family, and faith. The more they loved each other, the more they wanted their families to understand and accept what they had found together. So, they made a courageous decision: they would introduce each other to their families. The first step was for Daniel to visit Leila's family in Istanbul. For weeks, Leila prepared him, teaching him the basics of Turkish, sharing stories about her family, and coaching him on Turkish customs. Daniel was eager but nervous, unsure how he would be received. When he arrived in Istanbul, he was enchanted by the city, the vibrant markets, the aroma of spices, the breathtaking views from the Bosphorus. But as the evening approached, his excitement was tinged with anxiety. He had brought a modest gift, as Leila had suggested, a small box of Sephardic sweets from Seville, a gesture he hoped would express his respect for her family's culture. The evening began with Leila's family gathered in the living room, exchanging polite greetings and curious glances. Her mother, dressed in a simple yet elegant silk scarf, welcomed Daniel with a warm but cautious smile. Her father, a quiet man with deep, thoughtful eyes, studied him intently. Yet it was Leila's grandfather who surprised him the most. The old man, who had spent his life exploring foreign lands, immediately recognized the sincerity in Daniel's eyes. With a broad smile, he gestured for Daniel to sit beside him, breaking the initial tension. Leila's grandfather asked Daniel about his background, his family, and his journey to Istanbul. Daniel spoke openly, sharing stories of his own heritage and explaining what had brought him to Leila's side. To Daniel's surprise, the conversation shifted naturally from formal questions to laughter and stories. Leila's grandfather recounted tales from his travels, while Daniel shared his family's Sephardic customs. By the end of the evening, Daniel felt a sense of acceptance from Leila's family, particularly her grandfather, who later took him aside and, in a quiet moment, expressed his support. "Love transcends borders," he said softly, "but it needs courage and respect to survive." Daniel held on to those words, feeling both reassured and deeply honored. With the success of his visit to Istanbul, it was Leila's turn to visit Daniel's family in Seville. She prepared carefully, choosing her words with respect and carrying small tokens from Istanbul as gifts. Seville's charm captivated her instantly. The city was filled with narrow, winding streets, centuries-old buildings, and a lively energy that reminded her of home. Yet the warmth of the city did little to calm her nerves. She knew that meeting Daniel's family would be challenging, especially his mother, who held tightly to her Jewish faith and traditions. When she arrived, Daniel's family greeted her politely, though she sensed an initial hesitancy in his mother's demeanor. The first evening was quiet and formal, with his mother speaking mostly to Daniel and glancing at Leila with reserved curiosity. Leila understood. She knew how much Daniel's heritage meant to his mother, and she wanted to honor that. The next morning, she offered to help in the kitchen, hoping to break the ice. As they prepared a meal together, she spoke about her own love for family, her respect for tradition, and the Turkish customs that had shaped her life. Daniel's mother listened quietly, her hands busy with the food, her eyes softening as Leila shared personal stories of Istanbul, her own family's values, and the importance of honoring one's roots. Slowly, Daniel's mother began to open up, speaking about her family's history, the strength of her ancestors, and her concerns for the future. She was moved by Leila's genuine respect for their traditions and her willingness to understand. Over the following days, Leila's dedication and sincerity became evident, and Daniel's mother found herself admiring the young woman who had come so far to be a part of their lives. By the time Leila left Seville, she felt she had gained the tentative approval of Daniel's mother, who, although cautious, had come to see her as more than just an outsider. Despite the positive encounters, Leila and Daniel's journey was far from easy. There were moments of tension, misunderstandings, and doubt. The weight of cultural and religious expectations sometimes felt overwhelming. Each of them faced moments where they questioned the path they had chosen, wondering if love was enough to bridge the distances between their worlds. They encountered resistance not only from family but also from friends and community members who questioned their relationship. Some believed that blending such distinct traditions would dilute their identities, while others expressed concern about the future of their children and the challenges they might face. But with each challenge, Leila and Daniel grew stronger in their resolve. They leaned on each other, finding strength in the love they shared and the respect they had cultivated. They spent hours discussing how they could honor both of their heritage without compromising their identities. They explored the possibility of a future where both Turkish and Jewish traditions could coexist in harmony, a future where they could celebrate both Eid and Passover, where their children could learn Turkish and Ladino, where love would be the foundation of their home. As they faced these trials, their love deepened, shaped by the respect and understanding they had fought so hard to build. Each step they took became a testament to their commitment, a declaration of their belief that love could indeed transcend boundaries. They realized that their relationship was not just about their love for each other but also about the hope they carried for a world where people could come together despite their differences. Their journey was not simply a romantic pursuit, but a path of transformation, a choice to build a life that honored diversity and celebrated unity. In their hearts, they knew that they were not only fighting for their love, but also paving the way for future generations. Leila often remembered her grandfather's words, "Love transcends borders, but it needs courage and respect to survive." Those words guided her as she and Daniel prepared for the next steps of their journey. Together, they chose to embrace both the beauty and the challenges of their relationship, hoping that their love story would inspire others to bridge divides, to honor differences, and to believe in the power of love that transcends all boundaries. With hope and determination, Leila and Daniel took one more step forward, hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next. Their journey was still unfolding, but they knew that they would face it together, united by love and bound by a shared dream for a better, more accepting world. Chapter 3: Threads That Bind. Leila and Daniel's decision to marry was a momentous step, symbolizing not only their commitment to each other but also their unwavering dedication to bridge the divides between their worlds. They knew that their marriage would be more than a union of two people, it would be a statement of love, resilience, and respect for cultural diversity. Planning their wedding became a journey in itself, as they sought to honor both their traditions, families, and faiths in one unified ceremony. The couple spent countless hours discussing how they could weave elements from each of their heritage into their wedding. They agreed to hold a mixed-faith ceremony, one that would blend Turkish and Sephardic Jewish traditions in a way that honored both while creating something entirely new. Leila's family suggested a traditional Turkish wedding ceremony, filled with vibrant music, dance, and the aroma of rich Turkish cuisine. Daniel's family, deeply rooted in Sephardic customs, proposed including a ketubah, a symbolic wedding contract, and a chapa, a canopy under which they would stand, representing the home they would build together. On the day of the wedding, the gathering was a tapestry of vibrant colors, sounds, and symbols. Turkish lanterns hung alongside traditional Sephardic decorations, and a mix of Turkish, Spanish, and Hebrew music filled the air. Family members wore traditional clothing, with Leila dressed in an elegant Turkish bridal gown and Daniel wearing a tawlit, a Jewish prayer shawl. The guests represented a spectrum of backgrounds, including Muslims, Jews, Christians, and others, all gathered to witness the union of two souls who had chosen to embrace each other's differences with love and respect. The ceremony was a delicate dance between traditions. Leila and Daniel each spoke vows in their native languages, promising to respect, support, and cherish each other. Under the chapper, Leila's father offered a Turkish blessing, and Daniel's mother recited a traditional Jewish prayer, both families expressing their hope for a life filled with harmony and understanding. As they exchanged rings, a sense of unity filled the room, a feeling that transcended words and bridged the boundaries that often separated people. The wedding became a living testament to the beauty of cultural coexistence, a gathering of hearts committed to love and acceptance. After their wedding, Leila and Daniel felt a renewed sense of purpose. They believed that their love story could serve as a model for others, inspiring them to foster understanding across cultural lines. With a shared vision, they set out to create projects within their community, hoping to promote tolerance and empathy among people from all walks of life. They established a non-profit organization that held events celebrating various cultural traditions. They organized lectures, interfaith dialogues, and cooking classes where people could learn about each other's heritage, taste each other's food, and celebrate the common threads of humanity. Their work gradually gained traction, attracting people from diverse backgrounds who were eager to connect with others in a meaningful way. They held festivals that combined Turkish dance with Sephardic music, organized Ramadan iftars open to the entire community, and held Passover seders where anyone, regardless of faith, was welcome to join. People from different cultures, religions, and walks of life came together at these gatherings, forming friendships and gaining a deeper understanding of each other's beliefs. Leila and Daniel's efforts began to transform their community, creating bonds of empathy and respect that transcended the walls people often put up around themselves. As the years passed, Leila and Daniel's family grew. They welcomed two children, twins named Eileen and Raphael. Leila and Daniel wanted to raise them with a strong sense of cultural pride as well as an openness to the world around them. Their household was a blend of languages, with Turkish, Spanish, and Ladino, the language of Sephardic Jews, spoken interchangeably. Their children grew up celebrating both Ramadan and Passover, learning to make Turkish dolmas alongside Sephardic dishes, and understanding the significance of each holiday, not as separate traditions but as parts of a shared heritage. Leila and Daniel were mindful to teach their children the values that had defined their own lives: love, respect, and a commitment to peace. They encouraged Eileen and Raphael to ask questions, explore different perspectives, and treat every individual with kindness, regardless of their background. They shared stories of their ancestors, tales of resilience and perseverance, so that their children would know the importance of honoring one's heritage while keeping an open heart toward others. Their home became a haven of multiculturalism. During Ramadan, they invited neighbors to break the fast with them, and during Passover, they welcomed friends to join the Seder, explaining the meaning of each ritual and its history. Eileen and Raphael grew up understanding that diversity was not something to be feared but cherished. Their parents' love story became a guiding light, a constant reminder that people could find harmony in their differences and strength in unity. The impact of Leila and Daniel's work and love story extended far beyond their own family. News of their community project spread, and soon, they were invited to speak at conferences, universities, and cultural gatherings. Their story was shared in articles and documentaries, inspiring people from different parts of the world to look beyond stereotypes and embrace diversity. They received letters and messages from people who had been moved by their journey, thanking them for showing that love and peace were possible, even in a world often divided by prejudice and fear. In a world that sometimes seemed filled with conflict and division, Leila and Daniel's love story became a beacon of hope. They were proof that peace could be achieved when hearts remained open, that even the smallest gestures of kindness and understanding could create ripples of change. Their family became a symbol of what was possible when people chose to live with empathy, when they refused to be limited by their differences and instead embraced the threads that bound them all together. In their later years, Leila and Daniel continued their work, now joined by Eileen and Raphael, who had grown into compassionate and curious young adults. Together, they expanded their projects, traveling to different parts of the world to share their story and encourage others to build bridges in their own communities. They visited schools, community centers, and religious institutions, inviting people to participate in dialogues, workshops, and cultural celebrations. They created spaces where individuals from different faiths and cultures could come together, share their stories, and find common ground. Their journey was not without its challenges. There were still moments of resistance and skepticism, people who questioned their motives or doubted the possibility of true unity. But Leila and Daniel had learned, over the years, that change was a slow and patient process, one that required resilience and hope. They remained steadfast, driven by the belief that love and understanding could indeed transform the world. As they grew older, Leila and Daniel looked back on their lives with a deep sense of fulfillment. They had built a family that was a testament to unity, a legacy that would continue through Eileen and Raphael and the countless lives they had touched along the way. Their story had spread far beyond their own community, becoming a symbol of hope for people across the globe. In the end, Leila and Daniel's life was a beautiful tapestry, woven from threads of love, respect, and resilience. They had proven that families, cultures, and even religions could blend, creating a world where diversity was celebrated, and peace was not only possible, but real. Their legacy lived on as a reminder that, with open hearts and unwavering faith in humanity, people could indeed come together, building a future where all could thrive in unity.